my first assignment was to go and work at the bar, not really behind the bar, but as part of the bar team. And that's where I discovered bartending. And then gradually, in the course of the next few months, I got the opportunity to go work behind the bar. The bar was quite happening.
Doing a business in India will make you rich, and I think that is a great achievement for us as a bar owner.
I used to make this tiramisu espresso martini plus primavera in Hideaway. It's a very cool drink in which they put tiramisu only, shayad. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I am Triya Gulati, and today we have a very interesting story to share. The story of Pahadi men in the food and beverage landscape of India. Now, for a very long time, they have quietly ruled the kitchens and bars of majority restaurants. If we just talk about Delhi, be it the Korean dishes, to Desi Chinese, to the typical dal makhani and butter chicken serving joints, the chefs were always these Pahadi men. But now that is beginning to change. From the back of the house to the front of the bar, they are stepping out, owning spaces and becoming the face of some of Delhi's most exciting bars. This is a story of that shift.
In the 1990s, bartenders and mixologists like Yangdu Plama showed what visibility could look like for Pahadis. The job of making drinks, once dismissed as menial, was reframed as an art. Bartending schools didn't just teach how to pour a perfect drink, but also taught confidence. Students learned to banter with guests, command a room, crack jokes, and hold eye contact. The result was a cultural makeover. Today, step into any bar in India, from five-star hotel lounges to neighborhood spots, and chances are you'll find a Pahadi behind the counter. Many like Yangdu Plama, Shanki and Jeet Rana have even gone on to become bar owners. Yet, no matter how high they climb, they don't shed their Pahadiness. We spoke to the Pahadi owners of 3 popular bars of Delhi NCR, and let's see what they have to share.
So my name is Yangdup, and I was born and brought up in Darjeeling. So I come from the hills of Darjeeling, and I did my studies there. But I went down to Calcutta to do my hotel school, so hotel management, and then I came to Delhi to work in a hotel. So the idea was to become a hotelier, and this I'm talking about 30 years ago. So when you ask me how did bartending happen, I think the answer would be very simple. Bartending happened by accident.
Okay.
So I joined a hotel to become a hotelier. I was at the Hyatt Regency in Delhi. But my first assignment was to go and work at the bar, not really behind the bar, but as part of the bar team. And that's where I discovered bartending. And then gradually, in the course of the next few months, I got the opportunity to go work behind the bar. The bar was quite happening. It had a good set of guests. It had very good bartenders, and it was doing quite well in terms of the cocktails that they would sell and the regulars. So learning became a process, and then I kind of enjoyed, I think. And that's how it was, never looking back. It was just go with the flow, and that's how where I am today.
I'm from this small village in Pauri Gadwal, which is in Uttarakhand, hardcore mountain. So I'm born and raised in Ludhiana actually, because when I was 10 years old, I burned my house by mistake, and my mom, she threw me out of the house,
Okay.
And then I grew up in Ludhiana, but I was keep going to the mountain because that's where my entire family was. And I think my father was a chef, and I wanted to become a chef after seeing him because he was very skillful. He is very skillful. And I thought after doing my hotel management, I'll become a chef. And then I realized doing a training in one of the 5-star hotel, that bartending is glamorous and charming and that fun job, which is not for the kitchen. And I said, I wanted to actually do bartending than the kitchen part. And that's how my journey started. And
Which year is this?
2011 and 12.
So my roots are from Tihri, but I have always lived in Pauri Gadwal,
Okay.
a small town called Srinagar.
Mhm.
If you go to Kedarnath, Badrinath or anywhere, you have to cross my homes
Okay.
like that. Then I'm from there and I started my journey looking at my father. My father was a mentor figure for me being in this industry because my dad is also a chef. He's always been traveling. He's super cool. He just gets things done. Plus, he takes care of our family like anything. I thought like whenever I have a nuclear family, I'll also be able to take care of them in the same way. And that's how I ended up in a hotel management college.
Shashank, you mentioned your father is a chef, and I think what you earlier also told us that he's a Indian, like he makes Indian food, right? How come you ended up in this bartending field?
So unlike him, I am very outspoken. Very, I mean, that's what I think. I'm good in communications and everything. What happened was I did hotel management just to become a chef. Later on, I realized that I'm a very good chef. Like
Okay.
not a very good hand-wise, but talking about. I used to know about roux and all these, kitchen terms,
Right.
and I used to talk about them very fluently. Later on, when I did my training, I thought I'll become a front office guy. And then I chose a part in between, which is like I'm a chef, but in the front. Like I'm cooking something, but in front of the guest, I'm talking to them. So that's how I ended up being in the beverage bar industry.
So when you told your father that I want to get into bartending,
Yeah.
was his image like in his mind also? Did he think that he's gonna go and work in a nightclub?
He thought, because the problem with where we come from, right? There are, so I'm sure you've heard that Surya's Pahadi Mas, right? And it's reality.
Yeah.
People drinks a lot means a lot. When they drink a lot, this is not in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like when I get drunk and I just want to have fun and chill and dance or speak to
Yeah.
friends. It's about fighting or something like that. And this is what my father thought, that he'll get addicted to alcohol. And actually, my father and mother didn't speak to me for a couple of weeks when I said I want to be a bartender. You know, and it was a little tough that time. But then I was very kadus at that time. I said, this is what I want, means this is what I want.
Right.
And
Probably they were scared that he will burn
Exactly.
down the house again.
or someone else's house.
Or
You know,
someone else's
अपना
house.
ठीक अपना जला दिया, दूसरे का मत जला.
Right.
Yeah, but they were scared initially. But you know, over the period of time when there was multiple articles about me, everybody was talking about it, and plus I was representing India in Miami, so there was
How long
enough.
did they took to...
I think within 6 months when I was earning, also they like it's okay. At least he's doing, and I think for 5 or 6 years of my career, I was not drinking alcohol. I was taste the spirit, how it tastes, and that's it.
So for me to bring the mountain story, it's not rocket science. For me to bring the mountain story is purely a very honest story. To use the mountain ingredients is a very honest approach for me. It's not something that I read or have to travel. It's something that I've seen, I've used it, I've experienced it through and through. And I've kind of, probably when I experienced it as a child, it was different. But now I take a lot of pride in it because it's part of my culture. It's attached to our life in the mountains. So it becomes much, much, much easier. And most importantly, it is also original. I'm not trying to borrow a story. Right? When I talk about the mountains, when I'm talking about the mountains, I'm not looking at different reference books. I'm just saying what I feel and what I experience and what has brought me all of that happiness over the years. I just try to bring all of that together and see if I can do something better and present it to the world. And that's I think why it is kind of resonates so strongly with the consumers.
Right. Do you think being a bartender or owning a bar puts you at a better position financially as compared to a chef?
1,000 times, of course. Yeah, I mean, somebody says if you want to be rich, then salary will never make you rich. Your doing a business in India will make you rich. And I think that is a great achievement for us as a bar owner. But more than that, I feel we've also taken a risk. Whatever the saving we had, we just put that to make, and because we are very confident enough that we've learned what we can do and what we can present, and the result of last 40 days has been what do you call it? Validation for that.
But not just as a bar owner again, because
As a bartender.
as a bartender as well. Even if I ask you to compare, did it put you at a better position financially as compared to your father? Like how much he would earn or save in a significant period of being a chef?
I think because so I don't know how do we compare that, but he was working at tier 3 city Ludhiana when he was a chef, and when I was a bartender, I was earning more than him after he spent 18 years in the industry, right? The reason for that, number one, because I was in tier 1 city, Delhi and Mumbai. Number two is because I was customer facing job. It was a customer facing job where the tip was really high before the service charge happened in the country. And even though when I was earning service charge, it was a good amount, far better than what my father was earning that time, but I think now getting to this part of thing is far better, in terms of financially. But there's a risk, there's a reward, of course, but there's a risk about it.
higher rewards.
Reward,
That's what they
absolutely.
say. Talk to me about the cocktail program. Like how did you curate, bringing these different elements
Mhm.
and fusing it with the drinks?
Uh, the guys I followed till now, the guys who I've called my uncalled mentors. I've never told them that they are my mentors, but I've always followed them. I feel like they do things which are guest driven, right? I can do things with some peculiar ingredients which I got from Uttarakhand, my hometown, which is like 400 meters away, sorry, 400 kilometers away from here. Why not just make regular, basic, flavorful drinks which are like balanced enough? I know my classics. I love doing classics. I know I'm very young to say that, but I love classics. I love doing daiquiris, uh, mezcal margaritas, right, mojitos. So I just know how to play with balance. That's what I think about the bar menu as well. Everything is balanced over there. We have a truffle drink as well. I never wanted to do a truffle drink. My best friend Rajneesh wanted to do a truffle drink because truffle is cliche for me. And he said, we'll do a truffle drink, but truffle will not be there. It will just be in the nose and that's it.
Yeah.
So we did a truffle drink. There's only like 1% of that drink is truffle in the taste, but the truffle is present, very present. So everything in the just in the Bonvita as well. I used to make this tiramisu espresso martini plus primavera in Hideaway is a very cool drink in which they put tiramisu only, shayad. Yeah. Tiramisu kind of espresso martini. So I thought, why not do a drink which is just fun, which just hits the nostalgia. So we just did a Bonvita setup.
Fruit Loops on top.
Fruit Loops on top just for the nostalgia, right?
The menu purely talks about ingredients, stories from the mountains, the experiences from the mountains. So we have 16 cocktails in our cocktail list, and all of them are ingredients and stories that comes from the Himalayas, right? Starting from Ladakh to all the way to the northeast. So there are also stories from mountains.
Any example, one or two example that you could give us?
Simple. There's one cocktail called Dukle, which is part of the menu. Dukle, Dukley, and it means it's beautiful in Ladakhi.
Okay.
And it's a cocktail that has seabuck thorn puree as one of the hero ingredients, right? Then taking the story forward, there's another cocktail which is also one of the most popular drinks over here called the Maggie Point. Now, it's not about ingredients from the mountain, but it's about something that you do in the mountain the moment you start your drive uphill.
Eating
Right, so
Maggi is
every-
mandatory, yeah.
So there's a cocktail called Maggie Point, and the moment you read about it, everybody says, "Oh, that's interesting. Let me try one." Right? So it takes you to one of those journeys, to little experiences that you've had in the mountains, right? The fun that you've had in the mountains, and translating that into a cocktail. So it's about everything. It's about ingredients. It's about mountain life. It's about stories. It's about experiences. So the idea is to bring all of this together. In like one of our mirrors there in the corner, it says "Surya Ast Padi Mast," right? So it's a proverb that people keep using about mountain people all the time, right? But it's nice to have it at the bar, like while all of us have heard it at some point in time, but to walk into a bar in a city like Gurgaon and suddenly read that just brings a smile on your face, right?
Also, when we when cuisine of any particular region comes into limelight, we have always seen it's first the food and then it is sort of reflected in the drinks.
if I just talk about Delhi NCR, then this is for the first time I have noticed that it's the drinks, the ingredients of the entire Himalayan belt have been introduced to the public here through the drinks, because I spoke to a lot of like my friends or diners or customers, just meet them, and then you just ask them, "Oh, what do you know about mountain food? Like, I want to try those flavors." It's like, food we don't know, but for drinks you can go to this place or that place, right? Because they have this particular ingredient and that particular ingredient. Why do you think that has happened? Why? How come the cocktails and these drinks and this whole culture came first, even before the typical food came?
I think even the food has happened, but I don't think it's been done with full trust, right? Chefs did bring, a lot of chefs did bring in a lot of mountain ingredients into their cooking. Like there's a restaurant called Nar, which is all about
But then that is
it's up in the mountains. So what I'm just saying is that even over here, we have this place called the Yeti, But what I'm trying to say is, it's about the longevity. It's about staying true to that concept right from the beginning till the end. In our case, and I think a few of the other bar guys also who started off bars now, cocktail bars now, and especially for me, when people ask me what I'm good at, I always say I'm good at what I saw as a child, right? So for me to bring the mountain story, it's not rocket science. For me to bring the mountain story is purely a very honest story. To use the mountain ingredients is a very honest approach for me. It's not something that I read or have to travel. It's something that I've seen, I've used it, I've experienced it through and through. And I've kind of, probably when I experienced it as a child, it was different. But now I take a lot of pride in it because it's part of my culture. It's attached to our life in the mountains. So it becomes much, much, much easier. And most importantly, it is also original. I'm not trying to borrow a story. Right? When I talk about the mountains, when I'm talking about the mountains, I'm not looking at different reference books. I'm just saying what I feel and what I experience and what has brought me all of that happiness over the years. I just try to bring all of that together and see if I can do something better and present it to the world. And that's I think why it is kind of resonates so strongly with the consumers.
Do you also think for a very long time becoming a bartender wasn't really cool, and it was to some extent looked down upon? Like it was considered like acha theek hai, like it's not a very respectable job. But now things have changed, and how they have changed. Like with the legends like Mr. Lama representing India at international level, with Navjot representing India at international level. And then social media fueling all of that representation. Do you think that has changed, like the way people, not just in the mountains but in general across India, the way people viewed bartending as a career? Do you think that has changed?
Uh, I'll give that answer, but I think Mr. Lama would give the best answer for this because he has seen industry growing up from a very time in a very long time period, right? I have seen it from last 7 years. I think when I joined, there were bartenders who were looked down upon, and there were bartenders who were making names, right?
No, it was quite interesting because, and I would like to say that I'm very lucky to be able to witness and be a part of this whole transition that happened from working in, hotels as a F&B professional to switching over to standalone bars and restaurants, and of course specializing and actually following the idea of just sticking to beverages and bartending industry. So it's been a fantastic journey. If you ask me how the transition has been in the couple of in the course of the last 30 years, I think it started off slowly. In the beginning, it wasn't something that was very well accepted. I still remember in 1999 when I left the Hyatt. That was after 4.5 years of working in the hotel, and most of those 4.5 years was always in the bar. When I left the hotel, and then I had an exit interview, and when my manager asked me what you like to do, and I said I would like to see myself as a bartender, he laughed at me and said, "You know what? I think you're dreaming too much." So even people, even professionals within the industry, were not sure if bartending is something that would take off or had a good future
In India.
yeah. And then my answer to him at that time was I was young, so I just said that okay, even I'm not sure, but let me just give it a try because I've had the experience and I've been recognized as one of the leading bartenders of the country. And I wanted to be a freelancer, start my bartending school, and also see if there is a possibility of uh, setting up a freelance bartending company. So I said, let me give it a try. If it does not work, since I have a good merit, a good credential, I can always come back and work in a hotel, right? So that is how it all started. So from there to today, I think it has come of age. I think there's also been a lot of acceptance coming from the consumer side, from the industry side, and overall, it's been a great growth within the industry as well as from outside the industry. I think there's been great respect that has come from the consumer side. So our guests, our patrons of bars, people who love going to bars and restaurants.
Anecdote you can share with us just to just to show to narrate that this is the change that has come.
I'll give you a very nice example. This was way back when I was as an employee at the Hyatt Regency in Delhi at the Polo Lounge bar. I still remember I wasn't behind the bar on that particular day, but I was standing next to the service station with one of my colleagues. There were two ladies sitting at the bar counter, and the first thing they addressed to us was, "Hello, Vera." That is how they addressed us. From there, I still remember even at the bar counter. I know I would not like to, you know, kind of say who the guest was, but there was a fine gentleman who was sitting at the bar, and I remember when he needed a drink, doing this to me, right? So from there to now saying hi, hello, and hugging bartenders. I go to my bar sometimes. We have a lot of regulars in all our bars, and sometimes I'm standing there and I see the guest walk in, and then they greet my bartenders. They hug each other. They're like friends now, and that is because suddenly even the guests, even the patrons of the bar now see the bartender at the same level.
They don't
You know,
look down
yes. Before it was different. So, and that says it all. The change from you know having no respect whatsoever to being able to connect with the bartender on one-on-one. That is a fantastic change to see.
I'll my last question will be on this line that you said that पहाड़ी या तो आर्मी में जाते हैं या शेफ बनते हैं, right? या किचन में जाते हैं. Do you think in the next 5 years, I know right now it's too early to say that because we have only a handful of examples, but do you think in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, will there be a saying that पहाड़ी या तो आर्मी में जाते हैं, किचन में जाते हैं या bartending में जाते हैं?
Okay, so bartending आ रहेगा.
Yeah. Do you think it can become like
Not in very remote areas, but we have already got this now. I have seen so many people joining hospitality management schools just to become a bartender, just so they have a backup of hotel industry, saying कि they can go out, they can go to cruises and all, because they require you for
Yeah.
your hotel management degree and everything. But only because of that, the bartending thing, they are doing hotel management, and I think that is already there.
that is already there?
Yes, not in the remote areas
Yeah.
like my village, but that is already there in
So,
places like
youngsters are prioritizing bartending over just staying in the kitchen, away from the limelight, away from the audience,
Yes.
just constantly cooking food.
Yes.
That because they have seen their fathers do that, and they want to break that cycle and
Of course. I've seen my dad always wanted to open his own space. Now he's super proud of me that I'm doing something, right? I am doing something of my own. What my thought process is, what I would feel, how a bar should operate, right?
like you're working on your own terms.
Own terms.
With the mountains, right? So there are villages, and it's all in the mountain, and everybody is connected to each other, and not one village, but multiple villages
Right.
together, because they have one market. It's not that they have market in their village; they have one market, big market, and like more than 100 villages are go there. And if not everybody knows you, then everybody knows that this village has these guys. So I was in the market one day, and I had a friend with me, and he was teasing him. He like, "Oh, this guy from your village, I went to fucking USA and represent India, and what are you doing?" And like, do you know this guy is the same guy? And we were laughing for a couple of minutes. But then you see, it's not about how rural background you're from. Everybody is talking about you. Everybody is celebrating your success. I've seen when I was I went to Miami to represent India back in 2016. Uh, some random guys in that market came to me like, "Oh, you're the same guy. Wish you all the best. Oh, there's a blessing for you, and I'll pray to this particular Dev for your victory, this and that." And that feels so personal,
Yeah.
And that is uh, because mountain guys are very bholas, right?
Mm.
And we help each other, we pray for each other, and that has been the conversation. And I feel the reason for there's so many bartenders now in that thing because they've seen uh, us growing in the industry, and there has been talk that if this guy can do, why can't you?
Why can't
I've seen Amit's mother. Amit was like literally 3 year old when I hold him for the first time. He used to hang out with me, like play with me when he was 3, and his mother or his family is very close to me, and he was in college, and he said, I want to be bartender. And he and before he reached out to me, his mother and his father, his parents reached out to me that we want you to mentor him and guide him.
Right.
And I feel this is what happening not only with me, but there's 1,000 people. Let's say Shanky for an example, right? He's from mountain, he's from Tiri.
Yeah.
That's so you see somewhere nowhere this guy, he runs the bar, his name is Ravi Negi, he's from Rudraprayag. He was my assistant bartender in Earth Pune when I opened that bar.
Okay.
Right now he's leading that whole bar. How proud I am.
Yeah.
And he is leading a bar team. And most of them are from the mountain. Because there's a trust. That's one more reason that we all hire them, because number one, they're easily available. Number
What do you
two,
mean
it's a
by
trust.
easily available?
See, the thing is, if I'm looking for a bartenders, right, and I put a post or something, and if I get 100 resume, I'll get 80 resume from party guys. You see, that is what I mean by easily available. Second is that trustworthy. It's very rare that you'll see somebody from the mountain has cheated you on. Cheated in the sense money.
Yeah,
wise. That wise. I don't know which.
Right.
Yeah.
When I look at mountain people, I feel that they're very hospitable. So the basic soft skill is always there. So they're warm. And that's one of the key criteria within the hospitality industry. And these are things that cannot be taught. These are things that, has to happen naturally, or it has to be something that has to be ingrained within you as a person, right? So, you might tell a person, or you might instruct a person or teach a person how to fix a drink, but you cannot tell a person how to smile, right? Or how to be warm, or how to connect with people. I think
Right.
that has to come naturally. And that is something that I would say, I'm not saying that others don't have it, but I think it's a natural thing with people from the mountains. And that is definitely one of the greatest advantages that people from mountains have. And now, with a little bit more exposure, with the right opportunity, with the right guidance, a lot of these guys have been able to explore that space, use all the great positives within you to be able to find a space for yourself. And I think within the bartending industry, a lot of these guys from the mountains have been able to kind of navigate their path and do pretty well in that space. And I think it's good to see that.
Indian bartenders as domination, there will be more bar owned by bartenders now. You'll see in next 5 years. Right now, I think they're very limited. You can count them on your number. In India, not in Delhi, in India, right? But you see, in couple of years, there will be so many bartenders who will open their own bar. Second, when it's come to Pahadi bartenders, I think they will reach to the bigger position where they will become the face of the brand, where they will become the face of the bar, where they become the bar owner. It'll happen for sure, And when I say bartenders own bar, it means, because I said majority of people are from Uttarakhand or
Right.
Pahadi, they
Right.
will be one of them.
I would not say dominant, but I would say you'd see a lot of the bartenders from the mountains in this space. There are two reasons for it. You spoke about chefs. I think one of the things that the mountain guys are known for is also that they're hardworking and they're sincere and honest. And food is about being honest and sincere, right? Same thing with beverages. So even bartending is all about that, right? So when you or when you create a cocktail, or when you cook food, you have to do it from your heart. So I think that is one of the areas which kind of allows them to do pretty well in that space. Referring to the party bartenders, here at the Brook during International Bartenders Day, which is the 24th of February, last year, we did a takeover called the party takeover. So we
Yeah.
invited a lot of bartenders. We're going to do that again this year as part of the opening bar shift for the India Bartender Show. And it's a lot of fun because then, suddenly I also realized it last year when we did this event here, that the place was full and it was packed with bartenders from the mountains.
Right.
And we were all singing to Garhwali songs, to Kumaoni songs, to Nepali songs, to all
Right.
kinds of music from the mountains, right? And it was a great evening. And then you see, oh, there is a concept there is a connect there that we could also kind of translate and be able to lend that story to our consumers.
Well, one thing is for sure that these Pahadi bartenders aren't just pouring drinks. They're pouring heritage, legacy, and pride in every glass and finally claiming their space in the industry. This is Triya Gulati reporting for The Print with video person Anu.